Step into the majestic world of Thailand's monarchy, where the coronation of the revered monarch unfolds like a mesmerizing tale of ancient traditions and sacred rituals. This extraordinary ceremony, filled with enchantment and grandeur, marks the formal consecration of the monarch through anointment and crowning. The coronation of the Thai monarch is a formal ceremony where they are officially declared ruler through anointment and crowning. This ceremony consists of two main parts: the coronation rites and the celebration of the assumption of the residence. The coronation rites incorporate Hindu and Buddhist customs that have been practiced for many centuries. These rites include the king's purifying bath, anointing, based on the ancient Abhiseka ritual, crowning and receiving the royal regalia, utensils, and weapons of sovereignty. The assumption of the residence is a private housewarming celebration held by the royal family at the Grand Palace. Traditionally, the coronation occurred promptly after the previous monarch's passing, as an unconsecrated king was unable to use certain regalia or fulfill religious duties. Thai coronation, blend of Hindu and Buddhist traditions. Preliminary rites. Several preliminary ceremonies precede the coronation day. The first ceremony involves inscribing the new king's ceremonial styles and titles on a golden tablet called Frasufanabat. The day before, Buddhist monks perform a benediction in the main chapel of Wat Phra Kao. On the coronation day, the king's styles and titles are engraved on a thin gold sheet, along with the king's horoscope. The king's personal seal is also crafted. These items are wrapped in red silk, placed inside a box, and placed on the altar of the Emerald Buddha. Simultaneously, the Hindu ritual of Homa takes place, performed by the chief Brahmin and court Brahmins. A pavilion is erected, and offerings are made to Hindu deities. Benediction services are conducted by the king over several days, involving monks and the lighting of candles. The tablets of the royal seal, titles, and horoscope are then transferred to the Faison Thaksin Hall, purification bath. During the coronation, the king undergoes a purification bath, a significant rite. Donning the uniform of a field marshal, he enters the Amarin Winichai throne hall. Lighting a candle and offering prayers to Buddha images, he proceeds to the Faison Thaksin Hall. After receiving blessings from the monks, the chief Brahmin invites the king for a ceremonial bath. Symbolizing purity, the king changes into a white robe. The water used in this sacred ritual is collected from the kingdom's 5 principal rivers, resembling the ancient Indian rivers. It also includes water from revered Buddhist temples and 4 ancient ponds of Suphanburi. A pavilion is constructed between the Faison Thaksin and Chakrafat Pheman halls. The king sits inside the pavilion and receives water in a golden bowl. He dips his hand into the water and rubs it on his head. A rope is pulled, releasing a shower of water from above. The king is then offered water in small bowls by members of the clergy, royal family, ministers, and officials as a blessing. This ritual is similar to Hindu and Brahmanic traditions of purification before important ceremonies. During the bath, drums, trumpets, and Thai music play, while artillery fires a 101-gun salute. Monks recite a benediction in the Chakrafat Pheman residence. After receiving the water, the king returns to his private apartments before appearing in full regal attire for the anointing ceremony. Anointing. During the royal anointing ceremony, the king changes into his regal vestments, which include a golden embroidered jacket, traditional silk shirt, and fa nung lower garment. Led by royal pandits and Brahmins in a specific order, the king proceeds from his private apartments to the octagonal throne located at the east end of the Faison Thaksin Hall. The ceremony begins when the eastern pandit approaches the throne and presents the king with a cup of water from the eastern provinces. While offering the water, the pandit recites a prayer. The king then turns to the southeast, where similar dialogues in Pali and Thai languages are repeated, with adjustments made to the direction's name and the corresponding celestial guardian. The 8 guardians of the directions are derived from traditional Buddhist and Hindu mythology, including the 4 heavenly kings and 4 subsidiary beings. During the ceremony, the king repeats the dialogue and anointment 8 times, moving clockwise until returning to the east. The pandit of the east concludes the anointment with a speech, followed by the chief Brahmin presenting the king with the 9-tiered white umbrella. The king accepts it and passes it to a royal page. A mantra is invoked by the Brahmin, accompanied by fanfare and music. The king then rises from the throne and proceeds to the crowning. During the crowning ceremony, the king sits on the Fatharabit throne at the west end of the Faison Thaksin Hall. Homage is paid by the chief Brahmin, who recites a mantra inviting deities to merge with the consecrated king. The chief Brahmin then addresses the king in Pali and Thai, presenting him with a golden tablet of his style and title along with regalia. The king accepts and pledges to govern for the welfare and happiness of the people. The chief Brahmin hands the great crown of victory to the king, who then crowns himself with it. Inside the palace, a fanfare of instruments is played by the royal court band, accompanied by the royal anthem played by a military band outside. Simultaneously, a 40-gun salute is fired outside the palace walls. Monks within the royal residence begin chanting a blessing. The Brahmin then presents the king with the remaining royal regalia, utensils, and weapons of sovereignty. After accepting each item, the king passes them to a page who displays them on tables beside the throne. The Brahmin and the group of Brahmins render homage to the king, with the chief Brahmin pronouncing the final benediction, wishing triumph and reign for the king. After assuming full responsibility for the government, the king pronounces his first command, expressing his intention to rule with righteousness for the benefit of the Siamese people. The chief Brahmin acknowledges the command. Fully crowned, the king scatters gold and silver flowers and coins among the Brahmins as alms. He then offers water to the goddess of earth, symbolizing ratification and confirmation of his good deeds. Removing his crown, the king proceeds to the Chakrafat Feman residence with the royal regalia. There, he receives blessings from the Supreme Patriarch and the congregation of monks. The ceremony concludes with the extinguishing of the candle of victory by a senior monk, and the monks leave the palace. General audience. After completing the main coronation rituals, the king grants an audience in the Amarin Winichai throne hall, where he receives homage from royal princes, officials, and diplomats. The king's guard forms a guard of honor, while the royal elephant and charger are displayed outside. The king, wearing the great crown of victory, sits on the ornamental Futan Kanchanasinghat throne. The curtain is drawn back, revealing the king to the audience, consisting of the royal family, government officials, foreign guests, and diplomats. The Prime Minister delivers a speech on behalf of the government, followed by the king's response. The curtain closes as the royal anthem plays, Installation of the Queen. After the general audience, the king returns to the Faison Thaksin Hall for another audience with the royal ladies of the court, known as Fei Nai. In the past, the court ladies consisted of the king's polygamous household and female members of the royal family. Traditionally, 12 maidens were presented to the king as royal consorts, but since 1926, the ceremony has been replaced by the queen's installation. Historically, Thai kings had many wives, but only elevated a few to the rank of queen. King Rama VII changed this by granting his consort the title of queen in 1926, ending royal polygamy. King Rama IX followed suit in 1950. During the installation ceremony, the king anoints his consort with sacred water, decorates her with royal insignias, and receives homage from the court's female members before retiring to the residence. Homage to the royal ancestors. The king visits the Wat Phra Kayu, traveling in a royal palanquin and offering silver and gold flowers at the temple. There, in front of the Emerald Buddha, he declares his faith and willingness to defend the Buddhist religion. The monks accept with a benediction. The king then returns to the palace. Next, he pays homage to his royal ancestors in the Dusit Maha Prasat throne hall, lighting candles and offering robes to the attending monks. This concludes the public ceremonies of the day. That's all for this video. We will see you in the next video.